The 8-part cat and mouse tale of an international con artist scrambles its timeline and emphasizes the psychological toll of being in a killer's orbit. There's always a tricky question of semantics when it comes to stories about criminals who deal in deception. The lines between the points where one persona ends and another begins make it difficult to focus on who the real figure at the center is. That's true for The Serpent, the 8-part limited series about the life and crimes of Charles Sobhraj, but only to an extent. Though Tahar Rahim plays all forms of the man who led an international crime ring, he exists for most of the series as Alain Gautier. What begins as an alias, the origins of which the audience sees in fits and starts as the series progresses, comes to encompass all of what allowed him to grow his intercontinental passport and jewel-laundering scam, ensnaring a growing net of murder victims and accomplices and enemies along the way. In the process, the show surrounding him becomes a thorny biography with beguiling and cunning narrative choices alike. Inescapably, the biggest decision that The Serpent makes is to jettison any conventional chronological structure of the evolution of the Gautier scheme. Instead, writers Richard Warlow and Toby Finlay construct this story in a juggled series of parallels, grouping parts of this unfolding tale more by theme than by time. Most episodes put a member of the Gautier ring in the spotlight. Over time, the audience sees how he came to absorb the help of Marie, Jenna Coleman, the woman he presented in different contexts, depending on whether his aim was to steal identities or sell rubies. Longtime associate Ajay, Amesh Edireweera, eventually becomes the second-guessing enforcer, treating all newcomers into the orbit with a heavy dose of skepticism. Tracking this whole operation is Herman Knippenberger, Billy Howell, an employee at the Dutch embassy in Thailand who gradually suspects that the disappearance and death of two fellow expats might be part of a broader, sinister operation. Before long, one lead slowly balloons into a growing case against the man he knows as Gautier, even if various layers of local and governmental bureaucracy make the process of acting on those suspicions increasingly more difficult. By acquainting the audience with Rahim's character in full Gautier mode, Warlow, Finlay, and directors Tom Shankland and Hans Herbots place the audience somewhere between the perspective of those who are willing to take part in the spoils of his freewheeling lifestyle and those unwittingly trapped into providing the means. Each new layer of his past, shown in time jumps across multiple countries, brings with it even more reason to question the narrative that he gives to each new person he meets.